Under the moon's soft, silvery glow, the forest's ancient trees witnessed the gathering of the werewolf pack. A sense of unity had always been their strength. But beneath the surface, a growing rift was threatening to undermine their harmony. As the pack members assembled in the moonlit clearing, an uneasy silence hung in the air. The divisions that had begun to fester had not escaped anyone's notice. Old grudges, festering grievances, and ancient rivalries were like dormant embers ready to ignite at the slightest spark. Amidst the hushed whispers and shifting gazes, a werewolf named Rachel spoke to her friend, Michael, in a low voice. "Something needs to change," she said, her eyes troubled. "The tensions are becoming unbearable. It feels like we're all walking on eggshells." Michael nodded in agreement, his expression somber. "It's as if the pack has forgotten what unity means. We used to be so close, but now, it's like we're strangers." The rift manifested in small but significant ways. Disputes among pack members, which had once been resolved amicably, now escalated, fueled by deep-seated resentment and bitterness. The pack's meetings, once a symbol of unity, now served as reminders of the growing divisions. As the alpha, Daniel couldn't help but feel the weight of his responsibility. He had long been aware of the festering tensions within his pack. It was a burden he carried heavily, a responsibility he felt compelled to address. Taking the center stage, Daniel addressed his pack, his voice carrying a sense of authority and concern. "My pack," he began. "We can no longer ignore the divisions that threaten our unity. The old grudges, the rivalries, they weaken us." Murmurs of discontent rippled through the crowd, showing that not all were ready to confront these issues. Daniel continued, "I have always strived to protect this pack, but I see that we are on the precipice of division. We must find a way to mend the rifts that have torn us apart." A werewolf named Ethan, known for his outspoken nature, challenged Daniel's words. "Alpha, how can we just forget our past grievances? Those who have wronged us must be held accountable." Daniel met Ethan's gaze with understanding. "Accountability is important, Ethan, but it should not blind us to the greater dangers we face as a divided pack. We must find a way to come together, to heal old wounds and build a stronger future." As the meeting concluded, there was a palpable sense of unease among the pack members. The recognition of the growing rift was the first step toward potential reconciliation. But it was clear that the challenges ahead were numerous. The forest, which had stood as a silent witness to the pack's harmony and growing discord, seemed to hold its breath. The story of the Mad Alpha was on the cusp of transformation, a journey where Daniel would strive to balance strength with compassion, where unity would be redefined, and where the title, the Mad Alpha, would cease to define him. Under the ethereal light of the moon, the forest stood as a silent sentinel, watching over the secrets and stories of the night. In the heart of the wilderness, where the veil between the natural and supernatural world was thin, Daniel patrolled the pack's borders. He was the Alpha, and his presence was a symbol of authority and strength. The forest was his domain, a place where he had forged a deep connection with the land and the creatures that inhabited it. His obsidian black fur blended seamlessly with the shadows, and his emerald green eyes were a reflection of his unwavering dedication to his pack. As he moved through the dense undergrowth, he couldn't help but feel the weight of the title. The Mad Alpha. It was a name that had been bestowed upon him by his pack, a title he had earned through the choices he had made to ensure their safety. His decisions had been marked by their relentlessness, their willingness to do whatever it took to protect the pack. The title was both an honor and a burden, a constant reminder of the fine line he walked as their leader. It was on one of his nightly patrols that he encountered a stranger emerging from the depths of the forest. She moved with a grace and confidence that caught his attention immediately. Her coat was a striking shade of silver, her eyes a piercing sapphire blue, and her aura exuded authority. This was no ordinary wolf. Approaching her with a mixture of curiosity and caution, Daniel introduced himself as the alpha of his pack. "I am Daniel," he said, his voice steady. "Alpha of the Woodland Guardians. Who are you? And what brings you to our territory?" The stranger met his gaze with unwavering determination. "I am Emma," she replied, her voice carrying a note of command. I represent the Silver Moon Pack. And I come with a proposal. Our packs have a history of tension and conflict. But the time for change has come. External threats threaten our very existence. And I believe that together, we can stand stronger against them. Daniel regarded her with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. The history of animosity between their packs ran deep, and the idea of an alliance was a radical one. However, he couldn't ignore the sincerity in her eyes, the urgency in her words. "What makes you think I would even consider such a proposal?" he inquired, his voice laced with the weight of their history. Emma's eyes held his, unflinching. "Because I see the potential for a different future. One where we put aside old rivalries and work together. The dangers we face are greater than our feuds. And I believe that by uniting our packs, we can protect our territories and ensure the safety of our kind." Their encounter marked the beginning of an alliance that had the potential to change the course of their pack's destinies. It was a journey fraught with challenges, but also one filled with the promise of unity. As the news of Emma's arrival and her proposal spread through the Woodland Guardians, it stirred a whirlwind of emotions and debates among the pack members. The mention of an alliance with the Silver Moon Pack, their long-standing rivals, was met with a mix of hope and hesitation. In a gathering of pack members, tension simmered beneath the surface. The atmosphere was tense, and the division among the pack members was palpable. The history of animosity ran deep, and many found it difficult to embrace the idea of working alongside the very pack they had long considered their rivals. Daniel stood before the gathered pack members, his voice a commanding presence in the midst of their uncertainty. "Our divisions weaken us," he declared, his eyes scanning the faces of his pack. "And we must find a way to mend the rifts that have torn us apart." Murmurs of discontent rippled through the crowd, but Daniel's determination was unyielding. "I will not allow our unity to crumble," he continued, his voice filled with resolve. "We must find a way to come together, to heal old wounds and build a stronger future." As he spoke, a sense of unease settled over the gathering. The pack members knew that a difficult road lay ahead, but the recognition of the growing rift was the first step toward potential reconciliation. Among the pack members, there were those who saw the potential in Emma's proposal, who believed that an alliance could offer a path to a safer future. But there were also dissenting voices, those who held onto grudges and doubted the possibility of unity. Ethan, a vocal member of the pack known for his skepticism, voiced his concerns. "Alpha, how can we trust them? The Silver Moon Pack has been our rivals for generations. Can we truly believe that they have our best interests at heart?" Daniel, undeterred by the skepticism, replied with conviction. "Trust is something that can only be built over time. We have an opportunity here to redefine our relationship with the Silver Moon Pack, to put the past behind us and focus on a common goal, our survival." The discussion continued well into the night, with pack members expressing their doubts, fears, and hopes. It was a difficult conversation, but it was a conversation that had been a long time coming. In the days that followed, the pack members grappled with their reservations and hopes. The decision to form an alliance was not one that could be made lightly, and it would require time and effort to build the trust that was necessary for such a partnership. Daniel, as their alpha, was acutely aware of the challenges ahead. He knew that the road to unity would be fraught with obstacles, but he also saw the potential for a different future, one where old rivalries could be set aside for the greater good. As he watched over his pack, he knew that the path they were embarking on was filled with uncertainty. It was a journey where trust would need to be rebuilt, where divisions would need to be mended, and where a new chapter in the tale of the Mad Alpha would be written. The forest, always a silent witness to their trials and tribulations, seemed to hold its breath, as if nature itself anticipated the changes that were to come. The story of the Mad Alpha was on the cusp of transformation, a tale of unity, redemption, and a future that held the promise of survival in the face of mounting external threats.